It's over there. No, it's over there. It's everywhere. It's the O Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, CW. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure to hit that bell on YouTube and subscribe to the podcast on any and all platforms. Go ahead and do it. I need you to do it. I know you haven't done it yet, so go do it now. Tell a friend about the show. I appreciate you. Today, we're talking about alter ego gimmicks. Oh, everyone's favorite thing. Now, why are we talking about this? Well, for WrestleMania, Finn Balor will be taking on Edge in a steel cage, in a big steel cage. As reported, he'll be the Demon Finn Balor. The last time we saw Demon Finn Balor, he wrestled Roman Reigns, and there was some kind of goofy finish to that match. I don't recall exactly what happened, and maybe I'll look it up, maybe I won't, but I know it wasn't good. I know I blocked it out. It wasn't great, and we haven't seen that version of Finn Balor since. To everyone's, collective sigh, I think we were all kind of done with the Demon. Now, in NXT, the Demon made a little bit more sense, only because NXT was considered a developmental and you kind of were trying stuff out. Finn Balor was not a new person to wrestling. He was a veteran for sure, but he was definitely trying on that Demon gimmick for WWE audiences, and it went over big. People loved it. And he came out as the Demon in specific matches, and he won. And I think that was the caveat. Whenever he pulled the Demon out of the closet, so to speak, he won. It was a version of his ego that, held nothing back and, whatever. But here's my thing. The suspension of disbelief within wrestling is high. You let a lot of things slide. You kind of overlook the logistics of what wrestlers are doing to help further the story. That's the whole point. It's a play. It is an action play. My thing with Finn Balor's The Demon is that it requires so much prep that at some point in the preparation of this character, Finn Balor, to transform into the Demon, follow me, he has to sit in a makeup chair, or more likely stand in front of a makeup mirror and have multiple people paint a giant mouth on his torso to his face. A very elaborate painting, by the way. He can't do it himself. It's from his front and his back. Then, I believe he has contacts. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then he puts on a weird dreadlock hat and then proceeds to the ring where a lot of smoke comes up, and then he kind of crawls around on the floor. At some point, he's probably not mad anymore. Have you ever taken a breath when you're angry? People tell you, take a breath and, see how you feel. Take a beat, give it 20 minutes, and see how you feel. If Finn Balor were to walk into that makeup room, just piping hot, mad as hell, ready to face Edge at WrestleMania in a cage, and he's like, I'm gonna get him. Paint me. And then just a number of artists come in and just paint this mouth. By the time he steps out of that makeup room, would he even be mad anymore? Would he even be the Demon? The suspension of disbelief kind of stops for me right there. Another gimmick in the same vein as Finn Balor's Demon, but done a little better in that regard, is Bray Wyatt's Fiend character. The reason being, the transformation between Bray Wyatt and the Fiend, I think, would be much faster, right? So let's say Bray Wyatt's in his Firefly Funhouse and he needs to become the Fiend, or the Fiend's about to take over. You can write a story where Bray Wyatt, the person, enters a fugue state where he's no longer in control and a different personality takes over. And that personality picks up a mask that represents how they feel and then puts the mask on and then goes out to the ring, just kind of puppeting Bray Wyatt's body, decimates this other person, then goes back to the Firefly Funhouse, takes the mask off, and lets Bray Wyatt out. That's an easier transition than someone painting the Demon onto Finn. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's faster, it's quicker, and the logic to get from one character to the other makes more sense, which I think is why that character, Bray Wyatt and The Fiend, resonated a lot more because it felt like an alter ego. This alternate personality came out, put on their outfit, put on their garb, put on a mask, and then did some dirt, and then went back and allowed the regular Bray Wyatt personality to come back out. Whereas The Fiend is like, it's just Finn Balor, and he just wants to get cosplay going. You see what I'm saying? Now, he's going to be taking on Edge in this steel cage, and Edge is talking about he's going to be the devil to take on the demon. And I assume he's going to come out as the Brood persona of Edge, which makes a little more sense because that's just a chapter in Edge's life. He was just part of the Brood at some point. It's not really an alter ego. It's more of him tapping into the anger or whatever the hell he's going to pitch to get that Brood character to come out. And then obviously he'll probably, his entrance will mimic that. He'll rise up from the floor. There'll be fire. Maybe he'll even use the old Brood music. That'll be cool. But that it'll just be Edge. It won't be like Edge the demon or Edge the devil. It will just be Edge tapping into whatever anger he had as the Brood character, which makes more sense for me there too. I don't want to seem like I'm crapping on Finn's alter ego gimmick. I liked the demon when it was in NXT. And again, it made more sense. It was just a version of Finn, like he's coming out today, raring to go, so he's going to be the demon. I don't know. But this one, it's more like, I'm going to let my demons out, and to do that, I need someone to paint me. Now, I hope they take this opportunity to reinvent the demon character, in that maybe he's not all painted up. He used to come out with like a mask with spikes coming out of it. Maybe he can do that and maybe just paint like his face if he needs to, or just come out with a mask. He can be like a quasi luchador where it's just like the demon mask he's wearing. I would like that. But of course they're going to revert back to that weird painted thing, which I don't think they should. And just for prosperity, just for the sake of the theme of the episode, let's talk about Mankind, the OG, the true alter ego gimmick. I mean, do you know how confused I was by Mick Foley back in the day? The many faces of Foley. I had no idea why he would come out as Mankind sometimes and come out as Cactus Jack other times, or come out as Dude Love ever. I don't know why he wanted to be Dude Love ever. Not ever. Outside of him having a really great theme song, Dude Love made no sense to me. Cactus Jack, I get, was like the hardcore version of Mick. It's hard to manage that because Mankind was kind of the hardcore guy, right? He would tear his own hair out. He had the mandible claw. He did a lot of, weird, uncomfortable matches in his leather outfit and burlap sack. But then Cactus Jack would come out with a garbage can full of garbage and beat people up with that stuff. And I had no idea what Dude Love's whole deal was. But then I think they got or Mick Foley got a little tired of having to change so often. So he kind of melded all that stuff into the Mankind character for a while, where he just had on the shirt, and he would drag, trash cans full of garbage out, and he would be the hardcore guy, and he would, he didn't dance or anything, but he definitely did all the stuff that the other characters did. And then he condensed all that stuff into Mick Foley and then just stopped doing everything. But for a time, Mick Foley was the poster child for alter ego gimmicks in professional wrestling, and still, I think, the greatest version of that. Now, of course, that's just my old behind talking, but I think in a battle between Mick Foley and Finn Balor and The Fiend, I'm going Mick Foley all day. Why? Because he took way more punishment, and who doesn't love Mrs. Foley's little boy? Anyway, what's your favorite alter ego gimmick in pro wrestling? I want to hear about people from other promotions who have alter ego gimmicks. Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for listening to this 10-minute wrestling fandom podcast. Remember to tell a friend, and don't you forget,
I'm your friend, but if I ever see you in the ring, I can beat you. Don't you know? Yeah, yeah, yeah.